Dr. Mahendranath Pandey, Union Minister, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, in about half an hour from now. I welcome you all to this webinar on skilling and employment post-COVID, the national perspective. This is the second in a line of discussions that are being held under the FICCI Thought Leadership Dialogue series to deliberate upon sector-wise post-COVID scenario of skilling and employment. In the first webinar, we had a presentation of the global perspective, senior representatives from organizations like OECD, Senai, BBIB from Germany. We intend to organize 4 such more deliberations with state governments. At the end of the entire series, we'll be releasing a vision paper for skill development in India. A warm welcome to all the speakers here. Since we are running a bit late, I don't want to actually answer go into more of my speech, but really, I think 2 important things are here. The FICCI has developed a report called Skills and Jobs, Pre- and Post-COVID Perspective. And also the FICCI Skill Development Task Force has developed a research paper on migration as well. So we are going to, the recommendations are under immediate, short-term and long-term measures. Both the reports will be released today. I strongly believe that every crisis comes with an opportunity. The future is obviously going to be very different than what we were used to, somewhat akin to World War II, where women's participation in the workforce actually went up. Similarly, the SARS outbreak in China changed consumer behavior towards shopping. And I think there's going to be a huge shift and in both the way we work and the way we skill and the way we teach. And we have experts here, both from the services sector and also manufacturing, who will share their views today. A very warm welcome to all of them. A very warm welcome to over 150 participants who we have logged into this system and all the viewers on YouTube here. I would now like to invite Shobha to take forward the moderation of today's session. So thank you very much for listening. Please keep safe. Hope you, your families, your employees and their families continue to stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip, for putting the entire perspective to this series of thought leadership dialogue that we have been organizing. A very good evening to all of, to each and every participant and to our eminent panelists that have joined us. I am Shobha Mishra Ghosh, Assistant Secretary General FICCI. On behalf of FICCI, I once again extend a very warm welcome to the distinguished speakers and all the people who have joined us. We have almost about 19 participants from 19 states and from 16 countries. We all know that COVID-19 has the global. May I request everybody to please keep your microphone on the mute so that we do not have disturbance while COVID-19 has affected the global economy mainly in 3 ways. The sudden halting of production due to the lockdowns, supply chain and market disruptions, and impacting cash flow that has impacted cash flows and thereby creating a financial instability. Experts fear the snowball effect of its spread on the health of the global economy. The impact of on each sector and each organization has been unique. For some, COVID-19 has provided an opportunity. For some have to re-engineer their business models, reimagine their products and services, and while some may face the threat of extinction. In today's session, we have senior industry leaders from retail, aviation, logistics, and IT sectors. We will get to know about future skills and the growing role of technology in developing a post-COVID skilling and employment ecosystem. So without further ado, I would straight away invite Mr. Peter Betzel, CEO and CSO IKEA India, and Ms. Parinita Cecil Lakra, People and Culture Manager IKEA India, to share the retail sector perspective on skilling and employment scenario post-COVID-19. Peter has an in-depth experience in driving business growth in different markets and has ambitious plan to lead the IKEA India. Under his leadership, Germany became the best performing IKEA market for many years. Parinita has extensive experience in human resource of over 15 years in the retail industry. She has been a part of IKEA India's startup journey since 2014, contributing and delivering to the people strategy, setup of the people and culture function, developing and growing teams, leading global transformation, and strengthening the equality, diversity, and inclusion agenda for IKEA India. Thanks, Peter and Parinita, for joining us, and over to you for your presentation. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, now can you hear me now? Hello. Hello, everybody, and thanks a lot for the invitation to participate in the today webinar and this meeting. Very exciting for us, I think, because of, let's say, it's the first time maybe where we're all sitting in a kind of worldwide and global, we can call it starting crisis with the COVID situation. It's not dedicated to a country or to a sector or to a company or to a certain amount of people. I think this is where we're all sitting in the same part, and everybody has a certain outlook, has an impact on his personal life, on people, and on business, and on the sector. And I think everybody is very eager to see where we are, and also to see what can be outlooks for the future. And also when we talk about people and business, I think this is very demanding. But on the other hand, also I would like to start from an IKEA perspective to say where we are. We are now in India. And during the lockdown, we have a store open in Hyderabad. We have been up and running Mumbai online, Pune online, Hyderabad online. We have warehouses in Pune. We had offices in Gurgaon, in Delhi, and in Bangalore. All was closed. So from that perspective, we suddenly from one day to the other, it was closed not during the lockdown. What is very important in that situation that goes through and that will continue, I think it's about people. Safety, health, and well-being of people. Is it your coworker? Is it your consumer? Is it your business partner? Is it the people working in your supply chain? Is it the people working in your manufacturing? This is the number one priority, and this is number 1 till number 10 priority. And I think this is very important to underline, and that will remain also from our perspective. We have been now reopening all our businesses, but in a totally different way, and that gives us also an idea what could be the new world, the new normal we are talking about. But what we can all agree, it will be quite different from what we had before, and will be much faster when it comes to change and adaptation. And we call it a bit leading it ourselves, the business also a bit in the unknown, with a bit of a daring on that way. We are a retail company, we are a home furnishing company. So let's say we are starting with a fantastic vision that we would like to contribute and create a better everyday life for the many people. That means we are a people company. We have in principle a humanistic approach, and our values, our culture are based on that. We're talking about diversity, we're talking about inclusivity, we're talking about gender equality in itself. We are innovative, we are positive outlook. So even when we are sitting in that situation where we talk about the many people with our business idea and the people idea, I think this is something in our DNA to stay where we are, very close to people, caring for people, looking on the changes what we have in the new normal, but also caring and looking for the positive humanistic approach in that. So we are a positive company looking forward. Our CEO globally, he says, we love problems. I think that might sound very maybe in that situation. I think this is something which is explaining a lot. Loving problems means that they can come out of that maybe with new business opportunities. That means when we're talking about our business, when we say we love home furnishing with a range we are building ourselves with our suppliers and also with our consumers and doing business, the home has become much more important. I mean, we all see that all around the table. We're sitting almost in our home. We are working from home. So the home has become, we experience the home as with a new level of engagement in living spaces. We have been all working in offices or in other sites or in stores, and now we are working from home, which is very exciting, and most of us are working from home. So we have been discovering that we are engaging with our children at home. We are cooking, we are cleaning, we are relaxing, we are sleeping, we are spending much more time with the family. The home became a playground, a conference room, an office, a kindergarten, a restaurant, a gym, a school. Maybe the balcony, as far we have it, has become the way to outside, to look on outside. So home was always emotional, but it's more predominant now. So that is something what we see also for us. What we see that, and as we have a huge interest in people's life at home and dedicating to that, we see that as a part of the new normal, that the home in itself is becoming more important. And for us, being in the home furnishing business, and everybody being in the home furnishing business who can contribute to the day-to-day life in the new normal, I think sees a lot of opportunities here. Affordability will become for a retailer much more important. Affordability not on any price, but affordability with a meaning. That means affordability with with a good quality, but also with the sustainability, the way you're presenting, the way you're manufacturing, designing your goods. So sustainability has become a very, very important part, starting with the health and the well-being. But we know that the challenges when it comes to the planet, circular business, circular economy has become very important. So starting from our vision, and then to underline that we have been as a company even more underlining how important is it that our purpose is to have a positive impact on people, on society, and the environment, because this will be for essential for the future. Not just doing business, it can only be done with a positive impact on people, society, and on the environment. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to connect really to people's needs and the environmental needs. It's very important that what we are facing now, I think each company has some kind of long-term plans. We took that away because in the situation where we are, I think what we learned a lot is the here and now, and to stay agile and adaptable. I think we have a point of view that we say long-term plans might be sleeping pills, because then you're not reacting fast enough to what is happening in society, with the consumer, with your people, in the ecosystem around you. So that the here and now, what we have been learning, the here and now, to see, watch out, react, decide, and go further and try and dare and test things. This is very, very important. That has been the situation accelerating even stronger. So that is something what we have been learning. And then also when it comes to how we would like to meet with the customer, we know that the meeting with the customer, when we have been now open our store in Hyderabad, we did that as the good example in the ecosystem, with social distancing, taking care about the well-being and the health for our colleagues, co-workers, and the consumers. And we know that the consumers are very careful. We have been introducing a fantastic way how to shop, but we also have been introducing new services. So it's the contactless click and collect. So you can order online, you can collect it in the parking lot in our store. You don't need to come to the store. We have been introducing digital planning together with the customer. You can book a digital consultant. So we can go with the camera through your home, or you can show your home. We can help you how to plan. How can it look better? So the remote and the digital consultancy and the home furnishing consultancy has become something overwhelming big, and a great success for us. That is innovation which has been forcing us to put it in, and we didn't know, will it work, will it not work, didn't have the capabilities. We did it very fast, and this is something which is very important for everybody in the business. Dare to try out. Don't make the long-term plans, don't evaluate anything until the end. I think the fast, quick smell of an opportunity, seeing what the consumer needs, seeing what our people are bringing as an opportunity on the table, so that entrepreneurship of the many, and then unleash that opportunities and what your people are bringing to the table, what they are seeing, and dare to do it. You can fail, allow mistakes, because we don't know what will come, but to have the opportunity to try it out and be much faster and have the daring to do that in that new environment, I think that is something that we take with us as super part. And then we are collaborating more also with our suppliers. We're collaborating even stronger with the society and with our customers, so that we learn from each other. So it has to remain a very strong connection to consumers, to the people, to her life at home, and to the suppliers, to be really fast and dare and try and allow innovation and allow investing in things which that might fail or that will be very successful. What does it mean from a business perspective? I think in the future, we look further. Health and safety of co-workers, customers will remain as highest priority. I think we cannot say that in September something will over. And then even after COVID, we know that the The World Health Organization said there's another risk of another COVID coming. We don't hope that, but I think it will remain that the big focus of health and well-being and safety of co-workers, customers, suppliers will remain as very important. And the company who is not focusing on that, and the company is not focusing on a positive contribution on people, on the society, and on the environment, I think does not have the right purpose in that environment to come. So that is something which is very important. And then innovation, rethinking day by day, learning day by day, rethinking, innovation, very, very important. So we need to stay agile, we need to stay fast, and we need to adapt things as they evolve. Either we know them or we don't know them. We will have more touch points in Mumbai, we open Bangalore, so that is also something. Accessibility online plays a big role, but also what plays a very big role will be new, smaller meeting places, the big meeting places, the smaller meeting places, so people can quickly adapt and meet our range and meet our people. That will remain as very important. And then grow the business and grow the people together in a new sentiment and an environment, and dare to lead and dare to be a human being. I think that will remain as very important. So what I would like to place here is, we are excited about the future to come. We don't know what will it be really, but it needs to be stay excited, positive, agile, adaptable, and very humanistic and people focused and environment focused for the way to go. And then I think a lot of companies, and especially in retailing, rethink, re-innovating retailing with a purpose, with a positive purpose, that will be very essential for the future. I would like to hand over to Pali to talk some words about people.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And a very good evening to everyone. I think before I start, I just wanted to place a humble word of appreciation for all in the medical fraternity, police, authorities, our colleagues in the retail industry, whether it's been online, offline, whether it's food or other essentials, a heartfelt thank you. I think a lot of these people have been doing things to keep us safe with the needed essentials. What I wanted to share today was to just share some thoughts that we had of how we see things going forward, and also have the possibility maybe to share a little bit of what we've done in IKEA in these times, and we hope that we can share some inspiration with that. Like Peter said, and like Dilip also mentioned in the introduction, the world today is in an exceptional situation. The impact of COVID crisis on business and people have been quite unprecedented in every possible way and in every place actually around the world. In times like this, at IKEA, we took a strong responsibility of keeping the safety and well-being of our co-workers and customers as a very important priority for us, and not just only protecting our business in these days. And today, we, as Peter mentioned, we were in complete lockdown across the country. And after many, many days, we've now started slowly to reopen our business with the support of our co-workers who are doing their utmost to have a safe workplace for themselves as well as for our customers. Like every company in the world, our business was also hit. We also had to pick ourselves from there. We also had to adapt. We also saw the need to invest and also let go of methods which no longer work for us. How we see it is that there is a lot of unknown, but what we believe that is together we will be able to lead and navigate in this unknown as long as we're doing it together. So giving that context, I think before we get into what happens and how does the, let's say, the skill and the employment landscape look like post-COVID, I just wanted to share some top of mind trends, maybe 2 or 3, which emerged during COVID from a people aspect. The first one, and I think a lot of companies saw it across industries, rapid digitization. Whether it was taking business online, whether it was learning online, whether we were hiring online, whether we were onboarding online, work from home, meeting our customers digitally, giant steps were taken towards digitization. And one of my colleagues actually shared this, and I share it with you, that what we had achieved in these few days and weeks of rapid digitization because of COVID, maybe we would not have achieved it in the months and years in pre-COVID times. So rapid digitization, which happened across industries, both from a customer perspective as well as in terms of ways of working internally, I think that's a trend, and that's going to continue to stay. Upskilling and reskilling was another trend which came across quite strongly. Whether it was new selling channels, some companies jumped onto e-commerce when it was not actually, when they really didn't, let's say they didn't have it as an offering earlier. In IKEA, as Peter mentioned, we have click and collect as a new channel, click and deliver. We have that. Even from a learning perspective and working tools, that got upskilled. So we saw co-workers across not only our organization, but as well as in other companies, a lot of upskilling and reskilling, and very quickly all of that happening and co-workers delivering with that. Lastly, the other trend that I would want to talk about pre-COVID, or let's say during the COVID, the positive behavioral pattern of adaptability, agility, and resilience. Whether I think as a society, whether we learned how to live with this infection, whether we are learning how to live with social distancing, or new business channels, or the new payment tools, the digital wallets, etc., or even new ways of staffing. We've seen lone staffing from industries, across industries, even into retail. I think the pattern of adapting quickly with agility and finding solutions is strongly emerging. And in IKEA, we've also ensured that we are constantly training and upskilling our co-workers and leaders on these crucial skills with a lot of webinars that we've organized. So if we just take a look at what lies ahead, and I would just share that this is just thoughts that we are sharing. What we are saying that what lies ahead of us will be what we are calling as the new normal. And from a people perspective, we see some hard skills as well as soft skills which will emerge as necessities for tomorrow. But first, to remember that disruption will be a part of our reality going forward. Today it's COVID, tomorrow it could be a new technology. Disruption has been and will be a part of the reality. So always to maybe keep that with us. Agility, adaptability, and resilience is emerging as a key behavioral and leadership skill for organizations, and not just for organizations, actually for every coworker and every leader. Digital ecosystem, we saw a real jump pattern and trend during the COVID period. That's going to be part of our reality. And whether it's meeting our customers or whether we meet each other as coworkers or how we work internally, it's going to play a very big role in our tomorrows. The other trend that will possibly happen in the new, in the new normal, any kind of upskilling, reskilling, multi-skilling, or also reallocation, that will be part of tomorrow. Shortages in one part of the work, in one part of the organization or industry can get fulfilled by surplus in another. So this kind of cross-skilling or talent exchange would be a trend that would happen. And of course, like always, outdated skills will be replaced by newer skills that would be needed as per industry. There's also a foreseeable possibility of how employment or working contracts could be set up and seen. And actually, not just from a company's point of view, but also from a co-worker's point of view. Traditionally, we've done 48-hour work weeks, but maybe that's not going to be the only way. Maybe there are companies, co-workers, which can also offer more flexibility with 3-day work week or 4-day work week for co-workers going forward as well. Constant workforce development, if I just briefly mention about that, I think all the companies are doing it. They're investing heavily into it or should invest. I think with how tomorrow's will happen and with change being the constant that always is with us, the need for upskilling, reskilling will also continue. And I think that will also give organizations the possibility to adapt with agility in the future. Last two thoughts maybe to share on what would the future look like. An interesting pattern which is emerging, and it's quite less, but I think it would also increase workforce staffing collaboration between industries. And we saw that during the COVID period from across industries, sharing workforce to be able to support where there is an excess, where there is an excess need from where there is a surplus. So I think those kind of collaborations, healthy collaborations, would also continue. And last but not the least, I do think that I anticipate that there, with borders being completely diluted across the world and seeing how different countries and companies are reacting, I do think there would be an anticipated demand for better social security frameworks from the authorities, especially supporting co-workers and companies in difficult times like these. So that's briefly what I had. And to conclude, I would like to share a quote from our founder, Ingvar Kamprad, and I think it's very relevant to our times that we are in. He used to say that a crisis brings out the best in us. So let me leave that thought with you. And with that, I wish each and every one of you the very best of health and well-being and in your work. Thank you for listening to the sharing.
Thank you, Peter and Parinita. I think your presentation was absolutely very comprehensive. And I heard a lot about the impact on society, people, and environment. So it's a completely holistic ecosystem approach that IKEA, I am corrected, I was saying IKEA, so it's IKEA, is adopting, and that is something which I think several businesses would need to learn. I had one small questions and maybe 20 seconds, Peter. How different, since you are a strategy officer and you made Germany IKEA really prosper, so what is the difference between a homogeneous society like Germany and a very, very diverse society like India? How different is your strategy and approach between the two countries? 20 seconds for this question. You're on mute. Still on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. In principle, when we talk about the many people around the world, and that is what we all have in common, they have is the majority of the family. They have thin wallets. They have limited space. So in principle, and this is accumulated even stronger in India. The people in India have even less money, even thinner wallets. The families are even bigger. The space where people are living is even smaller. So that is not let's say a change of a strategy in that way. It's more maybe it's even stronger. Our purpose where we like to be in India when we talk about environment, when we talk about contributing to society and to people's life at home, even stronger in India. The need for affordability, quality for services, even stronger than in India. And one big difference, which I feel very proud of in India, is it's a very young and dynamic society. I like a lot that women come to the forefront, to be really honest. So we talk about gender equality. I like how young people, and especially young women, are taking the lead and responsibility to create a better society in India and to move the country forward. So this is something what I think I like a lot and admire a lot in India.
Thank you, Peter. I really appreciate your joining us today. So we'll move on to the next speaker now, and I would like to invite Mr. Ben Zandi, CEO, Airport Adani Enterprise Limited, to share his view on aviation sector. Ben Zandi has been a driving force for more than 30 years to bring in business turnarounds, merger and acquisitions, commercial expansion, and industry reinventions. Mr. Zandi takes an active role in reimagining airport travel with pioneering technologies, retail concepts, and new level of customer experience. Considering that COVID-19 has impacted the aviation and the airport sector in a very, very negative manner, it will be interesting to listen to Mr. Zandi, how he plans to, re-engineer his business. Over to you, Mr. Zandi.
Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. What a privilege to be here. I also have submitted a presentation. I don't know if we want to load the presentation for the group to see.
Yes, Shiv will do that.
Okay, thank you. So this biological and economic gap and tragedy has really given us an opportunity to reimagine the aviation. And in my presentation, I have exposed the future of India, and we truly believe the future of aviation belongs to India. And we are very blessed and happy to put our arms around this magnificent infrastructure improvement. But as soon as the presentation goes up, we can go ahead and go through it. COVID impact, what the future holds, and where is India going to be by 2025, as well as a way forward after the reskilling and upskilling the aviation industry and the workforce. What is the way forward? So let's see. I can also share the content if you would like me to.
Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, but actually it's saying available windows. We can see your screen, I guess, not the presentation.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll just fix this.
Sure.
Mr. Zandi, but I think there is a little bit of a challenge over there. It will take about a minute or two. Maybe you can share some of your,
Would you like me to share the content?
if you can.
Sure, sure.
Do you want, have you given him the rights to share the?
You are now, let's see, share content. Let me know when the content is visible.
Yes, it is. Go ahead, please. Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay. So India's aviation market, COVID impact, reskilling, upskilling, and way forward, as I discussed. Strong growth indicators. So the highlights of India aviation market, we are poised to be the third largest global aviation market in by 2025, and that has been confirmed by the ACI Asia, which is a tremendous position to be in. That means we have 5 years to be prepared for that supply and demand and improve our infrastructure, so we make sure that we are positioned to satisfy our growth and be the third largest globally. Economic shift. Middle class centered in the cities will grow to 40% of the entire population by 2025, and that would put India in the world's 5th largest consumer market by 2025. So having said that, again, this is a tremendous shift that the middle class is growing, and there's going to be a consumer-based shift, there's going to be economic-based shift, and we have to get ready for that. So we have 5 years to prepare our country to be ready for that shift as well. During the COVID, the government has realized that the infrastructure must meet the supply and by 2025. So they are going to really favor the PPP model, the public-private partnership, and they're committed to auction 18 airports to be privatized. And that was announced by the PMO's office. Airspace management, also the government has realized that we need to revitalize the aviation and make sure that the airlines survive the COVID and post-COVID for sake of business continuity. They are now looking at airspace for no-fly zone to be accommodating commercial aircraft. So there will be a shortest route and distance. So therefore, the flight can become much more economical and less fuel usage. And that airspace management is a tremendous boost for domestic activity and domestic route development as well. New businesses, the government announced that they want to bring MRO to India and make sure India becomes the hub for MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul of commercial aircrafts. And historically, there is 18% tax, and the government has reduced it to 5%. And again, that 5% will be credited to the business owners. So therefore, pretty much MRO becomes a tax-free zone, and it can become a hub, and it would I have an example that how that can impact the economy. So in my eyes, the future belongs to India. We just have to make sure we're ready by 2025. And as you can see, I have really documented the global disruption in the aviation industry from 1974, from oil crisis to 1980-88, Iraq-Iran war, 1991, the Gulf War, the 1997, the ASEAN crisis, the 2001 9/11 and SARS crisis, to the financial crisis of 2008, the Jet Airways closure. All of those, India has responded much more rapidly in the recovery program against the globe. The globe is the blue line and India is the yellow line. So therefore, we know that India responds to any kind of disruption much quicker than globe. And therefore, I think the reason of us getting ready for 2025 and would be appropriate for the next 5 years. And we also believe the recovery program for the COVID will be much quicker than the globe. 95% of the domestic flights in India is operated by a single aisle aircraft, which means they're much more financially efficient, fuel efficient. And we believe the domestic flight and the domestic market will recover less than 24 months. And the international wide body travels will recover in less than 36 months. So again, we believe India will respond much more positively and much more quicker to the recovery than the globe. Definitely, there's a new world order, and we have to adapt to the new normal. And this new normal is now upon us, and the entire aviation industry, including the government, authorities, as well as the airlines and the airport operators, are working together to overcome this gap and to overcome this delta and recover much quicker than anyone else. So therefore, I've created a pattern of how this cooperation from innovation and technology for partnershiping in the market, organizations coming together, and at the end, all of us to take advantage of this gap and put human first. So therefore, customer experience will become much better than what it was before. Now, how has COVID impacted our industry is very important. To me, digital marketplace, e-commerce, online, digitalizing the terminal, digitalizing the downtowns and the shops is going to have a rapid advance in technology. 5G technology on its way to India, which means the audio and video activation will replace the private devices. The private devices by 2025 will become obsolete. Urban turbine design, which means a station that you can have access to with 700 miles an hour trains, bus, rail, plane, car, all become centralized, and this city center will satisfy all options of travel, and at the same time, it becomes monetized with commercial and non-aeronautical revenue activities as well. Not that the airlines are struggling for revenue, they're very much open to talk to airport operators for sharing the customer passenger profiling. So when you buy your ticket, your profiling becomes important for us to service you from your home all the way to the plane and all the way to your destination. So you can have a contactless journey. And imagine the bags are picked up at your home, delivered to your hotel at your destination. Your digital boarding pass is done at home. Your facial recognition is done at home. When you walk through the airport, you get to the terminal. So technology is going to play a huge role in aviation market, we believe, before 2025. Therefore, technology, automation, artificial intelligence, all of this is going to bring operational efficiency, is going to optimize the OPEX, and is going to push innovation. Having said that, all of this will also create a policy intervention. So therefore, the government can play with be on the same page with us and create this policy interventions, which enhance is going to, the outcome and the output will be economic shift, diversity in revenue streams, artificial intelligence, technology versus human capital, what role each section is going to play, and that human capital reskilling and upskilling is going to be extremely important to gap the next generation productivity. Contactless experience, targeted product offerings. That means we're going to focus on audience of one rather than mass production and mass audience satisfaction. Virtual reality marketplace and evidence-based decision-making with live KPIs, live dashboards, and live business intelligence that we can make appropriate decisions. Advancing technology will move at the speed of light, and therefore we're going to have to be prepared for that. Let me see if I can get to the next slide. Somehow this is there you go. Okay. So what do we expect India to do? That we want India to reinvent its economy and planned investment for the country. And as you can see, the government has announced many initiatives to enhance the industry and create new market and invite new businesses to India. So we believe focus on health, focus on biomedical science, focus on artificial intelligence, focus on climate change, sustainability, and enhancing recruiting of new industries, and of course focusing on education, because education is really going to cover the gap of this productivity, and this reskilling and upskilling is going to be extremely important for us. By 2025, we must be ready to welcome the world to India. So deliverables, the demographic is in our favor by 2025 with that middle class growth. Maximizing the wallet share for our country is upon us by 2025. Seamless technology adaptation is a must. Economic globalization is favorable for us. Structural reforms is very important to invite new businesses to India. And of course, government has done it with MRO, and they're doing it with other manufacturing and potential pharmaceutical and other industries and businesses. And government is very much open to that, this structural reform is going to be very favorable to us as well. Infrastructure privatization and revitalization is upon us. Indian Airlines is up for privatization, rails are up, airports are up for privatization. So the government has realized that the infrastructure must be revitalized in order to welcome 2025. And then again, the generation gap productivity to a very aggressive educational system and a diverse educational system is going to be very important for us. So India's opportunities, middle class growth, 40% by 2025. Globally, we're going to be 5th largest consumer market by 2025. Supply chain and demand is going to have to match up by 2025. Education, I firmly believe we need to outreach to our population, to our villages, to our local communities, and enhance this educational offering for upskilling, reskilling, however we want to approach this. We want to accommodate the emerging market, and at the same time, we need level 1, level 2, level 3 education. So I know we need MBAs and we need doctors, but at the same time, we need the level 2 and we need the level 3, because the productivity is going to have to be enhanced on all levels. And today, if you look at it, India does mass production on engineering, medicine, MBAs in businesses, but we also need to focus on L2 and L3 as well. Economy, GDP, we are to reach $5 trillion by 2025. So our GDP is going to be very important and a tremendous impact on the globe. Globalization is going to follow that GDP of $5 trillion by 2025. Structural reform is called, and the government has realized that as well. Again, infrastructure, PPP is upon us on every part of the infrastructure, including aviation. Speed to market is very important, and India has dedicated that. We, as Adani Airport, have won 6 airports last year. Government is going to auction 6 more this year and 6 more next year. So also speed to market. We are ahead of the world. PPP is not very much favored in the US or other part of the world, but in India, we've been smart and we're getting ahead of the time. Social responsibility, obviously, it has to be upon us. We're going to adopt that. Nation building, sustainability, environmental issues, are extremely important for us, and those are going to be top priority. Way forward. The way forward, this multi-channel of biological threat, health, economic challenges, as well as generational shift, all of this has to be on top of mind for our businesses, our industries, and our government and our partners for the next 5 years. This population shift and productivity gap is going to be matched with reskilling and upskilling. We have to do that now. Economy, the digital marketplace, the business continuity plan, adaptability, cash flow management, global competition, free trade, tax-free zone, all of this has to be considered for the next 5 years. Again, education is going to have to focus on accessibility, online offerings, organizational and individual training platform must be created. In Adani airports, we are going to have an aviation academy. We're going to provide training on all levels of the aviation. So we believe that our academy is going to become a hub in India, and others will come to our country to get training, to go back and pursue their career in aviation, or to stay in India and grow with us in aviation sector. So R&D and innovation is at the speed of light today, and every industry is looking at digitalization, technology, contactless. This intellectual property also, I believe, belongs to India. And training and incubation, reskilling, upskilling must happen in our country, and we need to focus on that for the next 5 years. The future of re and upskilling businesses, technology is going to focus on competency, capacity, capability, and partner management. And partner management is the most important part of, after we get our education, after our competency comes in, after our capacity comes in, and our capability comes in, partner management is tremendously important. How do we all work together to get our country ready by 2025? I use this simple example here for MRO, since the government has enhanced the taxation and a free zone taxation for this market. And aerospace management study, both this combination is going to create a key initiative platform for us, which means we are poised to recruit global companies to come to India. And we are poised to be a hub for maintaining, repairing, overhauling commercial aircrafts globally. We are positioned to also offer cabin design and fabrication of commercial aircraft. Again, we can invite global companies to come in India and get that services from us. Having said that, manufacturing can also become an opportunity in this country, which means we can build engines for aircrafts. We can build the interior cabin for the aircrafts, and we can go into many sectors and also focus on Aviation Academy Center that I alluded to earlier. So all of this will push the aviation industry to grow as well. Bring this back and then go to the next slide. So that was the 15-minute allowance of my presentation. I hope it was helpful, and I'm trying to get back to the main picture, but let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Zandi. I think it was an excellent presentation, and it gave us deep insight as to how India can become Atmanirbhar, which is the Prime Minister Modi's vision. And you actually laid out the entire roadmap, not just for aviation sector, but I think for the entire economy. And I liked the sentence which was written in your last slide: expedite the future, human first. And this is something we are listening to repeatedly. We heard it in the IKEA representation as well as in yours now. And what we are hearing is reskilling and upskilling is going to be a major, thrust. And so therefore, a message to the government is that we need to move from level 1 to level 4, 5 skilling that we have been focusing on, and we need to move up to level 5 onwards so that we can upskill our workforce. One question that came up in the audience was that while we are talking of adoption of technology, AI playing a major role, everything getting personalized, personalized customer experience, so there are going to be job losses, right? I mean, the airports probably will have less people. So are we also creating high skill jobs in the back end? Could you throw your perspective on that?
So as I indicated, is how do we manage technology versus human capital? As you indicated, our population is growing, our middle class is growing. So where can we focus and shift our level 1, 2, 3, 4 human capital? Number one, we want to get the intellectual property belongs to India. So innovation R&D, we can create that and we can own that intellectual property and we can license that intellectual property globally. So therefore, we need to shift some of this reskilling and educational system to create innovation and R&D here in India. Unfortunately, for the past 10, 20 years, we've lost a lot of our human capital and smart brains to globe, and they left the country and they never came back. It is our duty to reimagine that again. And how do we keep them here? Once they reach that level 1, how do we keep that human capital in India and make sure that they stay with us through this growth? Number 2, if we can introduce new industries to our country, that means manufacturing also will become an opportunity. When manufacturing becomes opportunity within that industry, you're also going to need level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. So holistically, we need all levels. You're absolutely right. But from a strategy standpoint, where do we start? I think our education system must be so progressive and so proactive that touches our villages, our local communities, and focus on offering educational system level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so then we can be prepared 5 years from now. Because I promise you, if we don't take that action, we will have a productivity gap by 2025.
Absolutely right. And so we need generational reforms in education sector, and that's a given. Thank you so much, Mr. Zandi. We really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next speaker now, and that is, may I invite Mr. Ajit Pai, Chief Operating Officer, Delivery, to share his views on logistics sector. Ajit manages the efficient functioning of deliveries network, ground operations, engineering, and front-end workforce. And we have seen in the recent time, logistics have played a major role. So over to you, Ajit, for your presentation.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. I've been listening to the presentations and the views from different people on the panel, and I should say that this is indeed a very, very educative session for me personally, to learn about what's happening in the airports, to learn about what's happening in retail, because ultimately these are all the industries that we cater to, or we have a collaboration with. Just in terms of, I'm not sure how many people will be familiar with delivery, or how many people have heard of delivery, but we are India's largest supply chain company. We span the entire logistics space, from online to offline. We started about 9 years back as a startup in this space with a simple motive, which was that the group of founders who started delivery felt that the Indian logistics sector was not really driven by technology, and the biggest differentiator in logistics and supply chain would be the use of technology and data science to sorry, I think there's a my voice is not clear.
No, Ajit, you are clear. Go ahead.
Okay, somebody pinged me saying that it's not clear. Anyway, so we started with a very basic premise that that the real differentiator in this sector would be the use of technology and data science, and the reason for this is basically that ultimately logistics, in our view, supply chain is basically all about how you can fulfill a customer's requirement in the right time, at the right cost, most efficiently, rather, I would say, and with the right visibility, right? These are the three. When you boil down everything that we do, these are the three things that that we ultimately bank on to create a sustainable advantage. And every single element of how this all comes together ultimately boils down, in our opinion, to how well we can use technology and the data that one generates to be able to create the right differentiation on all of these 3 points. Today, 9 years on, we are India's largest supply chain company. We move and deliver about 1 million parcels a day directly to customers on the B2C side of our business, and we operate facilities of close to about 10 million square foot, which cater to both the B2C side of our business and the B2B side of our business, which again is responsible for moving well over 100,000 tons of cargo every month. So that was just an introduction to delivery. I think I will move on to the topic of this discussion, in terms of how we feel, what changes we have seen in the logistics sector with the onset of COVID. I think COVID has been a disruptive moment for the logistics sector as much as it has been for various other sectors. The challenges, though, are obviously very different. I think what we have seen over the last 3 months, and Delivery was one of the only logistics company to be operating all through the lockdown in full compliance of all of the rules and regulations. And it wasn't very easy to adjust to this new normal. The first thing that happened, obviously, was that demand patterns changed. So where our network, our infrastructure was sort of set up to cater to a certain demand, we had to very quickly retool the network to cater to a new set of clients, to cater to different kinds of loads from the existing clients. And there were a whole lot of challenges on the ground in terms of what was allowed to be delivered in which areas. So in different phases of the lockdown, obviously, essential and non-essential goods were differentiated. What all of this meant for us was that we had to make a lot of changes on the fly. And this is really where all of the investment that we had made in technology over the years really paid off for us. It underscored the importance of actually operating and sort of of investing in the technology. Just as an example, some of the things that we had to do in April, between the 27th of March and the 2nd of April, we had to retool all of our systems to be able to differentiate essential and non-essential goods by description, and to actually guide the movement of these goods in different ways and to different places depending on how the regulations were set up. Sounds a little easy, but when you're moving hundreds of thousands of parcels a day through the same facilities, it's fairly, I would say, that there is an element of rocket science to it, and that is where the technology the flexibility of the technology that we had in place really helped us. The same thing was also applicable in terms of how we could efficiently deliver at the last mile. Containment zones came into being at that point in time. There were many sort of changes happening on the ground in terms of what would be denominated as a containment zone. It would then go away after 15 days, but customers from all of these places were still wanting parcels. So on one side, we had to work with the authorities to make sure that we were completely aware of what was happening on the ground across the entire country, across 18,000 pin codes. And on the other hand, we had to make sure that our workforce also knew exactly how to deal with different kind of deliveries. If they had to deliver to a containment zone, how could they do it? How would they identify one? If we had already delivered once to a containment zone, how would we use that data to set up an appointment with a customer. Typically, for let's say, for example, what was a doorstep delivery 100% of the time became in 10% of the times a non-doorstep delivery, where we had to actually take an appointment with the customer to come out of his house and come to the edge of the containment zone so that he could take his parcel, which he required because he was ordering essential products like medicines and grocery items, etc. Right. So I think the big differentiator for us here, as compared to many of our competitors, or turned out to be the fact that we had the technology pieces in place. I'm not bringing that up to sort of say that was the key element, but I think overall what it underscores is the fact that in the supply chain and logistics space, in the new normal, with things becoming more volatile, both in terms of demand and supply patterns, the ability to adjust and readjust your network to be able to deliver the service that you need is now even more dependent on technology and data sciences than it ever was. In a non-COVID world with relatively more, I would say, relatively less volatile factors, probably technology would have been a differentiator from a customer experience and a cost standpoint. Now it is also turning out to be a real differentiator in the sense that maybe you cannot even conduct business if you don't have the right technology. So I think that's really one of the biggest differentiators that I see for the logistics sector. The second part of, I think, of what I will deal with is with regard to what is and will remain the largest input into supply chain and logistics, which is people. Right. Just to give you a statistic, delivery as an enterprise today has close to about 40,000 people directly and contractually employed with us. In addition to maybe another 60 to 70,000 partners, which would include trucking partners, drivers, courier boys who actually work on a per piece model. When you put the entire sort of chain together, we're talking about 100,000 people who are more or less directly either employed or contracted by delivery, of which close to 40% is directly employed or contracted staff with us, and at least about 60% of that 40%, so it's about 25%, is mostly contractual staff. Now, the reason they're contractual is because of the historical way in which logistics has worked in terms of a certain proportion of the labor being contractually employed. I think that on that front is, I think, the other set of large changes that logistics as a sector will see and is seeing. What happened through the lockdown period was that we did have a lot of people who were migrants into the cities and operating in our facilities did go away, because there was a huge amount of uncertainty in terms of how they would, in terms of their accommodation, in terms of whether they could get back home, whether they could send money back to their families, etc. Right? I think what that sparked off, at least within our team, was thinking and discussion on how do we see the employment model in logistics going forward. And the answer that we are learning and we are adapting to is that it is going to be a drastically different environment. What are the changes that we see? I think I'm reminded of. I started my career in the real estate sector in Mumbai, and one of the things I'm reminded of is that all of the older textile mills in Mumbai, which are now sort of in the Lower Parel area, used to have worker accommodation, chawls built in for worker accommodation. I think what we are going to see in the future is some of this comeback. I think India as a country, a lot of the economics heft of the country, and hence the jobs in the service sector, especially like in the case of logistics and supply chain, do lie in the periphery of the major cities, and the workforce that we need to bring will be people from from the villages, from the smaller towns. I think that is not going to change because that's how availability is. What has changed though is how we need to manage them. What is it that we need to provide? I think as a logistics and a supply chain provider, um, uh, it is no longer about just getting the people for us. It is about how do we get the people, how do we make sure that they get a quality of life uh, that allows them to work in a safe and secure environment, but with the company, with us taking care of all of those things which earlier they would have somehow managed. So things like accommodation, transport, in facility living, all of these have now become, I would say, they have become, they will become very, very important in terms of being able to manage an operation. The fundamental difference is that in the earlier scenario, uh, one could separate out these two elements. You had the operating facilities, and you had basically your source of labor, and you had a lot of things that you could do to bring labor, and sort of, they would find their own accommodation, they would find their own transport, etc. Today, in a world where public transport is not a given, accommodation, there is a safety question around accommodation. All of these have now become a critical part of the HR and operations planning for a sector like ours. Today, uh, if I have an operations review with my top facility managers, I would probably spend 50% of the time understanding from them uh, on these aspects, on how we are doing on these aspects versus how they're operating the facilities. Because the metrics of how they're operating the facilities are so dependent on having the right kind of labor within those facilities, and labor and that manpower being taken care of well. Uh, the the other part of how this affects a logistics and a supply chain operation is that we need to make sure that our facilities are now automated to an extent where we can work with relatively less skilled and less trained manpower. Now, when I say less skilled and less trained, I don't mean that we should not be skilling them. I think that is a very, very important component of what we ought to do. But equally, we need to bring down the cycle time of how fast an employee can become productive. And I would say the only two things that are inputs into this are A, the level of automation, which historically in India has been very low in this sector, and B, the usage of technology to guide processes on the ground in a much more seamless way, right? There was a point in time, for example, where in the older world, where a process would actually be implemented because people would get used to it. I think now we need to flip that and say that when I design a process on the ground, I have to design it such that somebody who's relatively less trained, he's just spent 2 days in the facility, can come and operate that process without really a hassle being caused in terms of what the output of that process is. I think these are I think the key elements of what has changed. The last part, I think, is in terms of I touched upon it slightly when we spoke about what changed in April. But I think the new normal, so to say, going forward is going to be a much more volatile demand situation, which means that our networks, or any logistics and supply chain networks, whether they're warehouses, whether they're hubs, whether they're last mile facilities, have to be designed and operated in a way that they can rapidly take into account changes in client profiles. So today you could be, for example, we have seen that certain sectors will take much longer to recover. We've seen, for example, in our network that the amount of fashion products that would move through our network is now a fraction of what it used to be, whereas pharma is a much, much higher proportion. Retooling our networks to make them flexible to adopt this change is something that I think all logistics and supply chain providers have to necessarily adapt to. We will also see demand volatilities because of the situation on the ground. The lockdowns are not a thing of the past. I think they have just gotten more local now. They're not national as they were in April. But I think as we go into as we go deeper into India, whether it is in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, what we are seeing is that different rules are coming in terms of at what times you can operate, at what time your consignees are open, at what time shops are open to receive goods. And hence a whole lot of the back-end planning in terms of your resourcing, in terms of your manpower, in terms of how your facilities operate, all of that now changes. To my mind, these are the major changes that come in from a logistics and a supply chain standpoint. Happy to sort of answer any questions that the panelists might have.
Thank you. I think that was again a wonderful presentation giving insights onto the logistic and supply chain sector. And I think you very skillfully, presented the challenges that the sector has gone through, and the benefit or the advantage that you had because of your having an advantage of having integrated technology into your a workplace, which helped you to tide over the challenges. And what is heartening to listen to you is that now, and this is something which was being talked about, that how can you become people centric and make provide wages enough for them to maintain their body and soul intact in an urban scenario. And that is what you have talked about, which is extremely heartening to hear. There's one question that has come up from Surajit Chandan, and I think it's a very interesting question, that how do you make logistic jobs aspirational, and that would lead to positive migration rather than being one of the jobs that you take in as a daily wage laborer or as a contractual labor. If you can
Absolutely.
throw that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I think extremely good question. I wouldn't be wrong in I think I wouldn't be wrong in saying that this is something that the top management and delivery has probably spent 30-40% of its time thinking about over the last 3 months, as we have seen the major churn in labor take place right under our eyes. Let me put it this way. I think ultimately, what do these people aspire to, right? I think that let's start with that. I think the big difference in what they aspire to and what has historically not been provided to them is a safe, clean working environment. Now, typically, a safe, clean working environment has been, one's interpretation of it would be to keep your facility clean, to keep your facility safe, where the workplace safe. I think the change that we are seeing now is that it is no longer linked only to that. Now it is also about this safe, clean environment being available for them to live in, right? And hence, what that means is that it should be affordable, right? Or the way the package has to be designed is for us as employers to start taking responsibility of that, right? Which effectively means that today, when I am building up a facility, I can just give you one example. We are setting up what is going to be India's largest single logistics hub, spread over 500,000 square feet, about 45 minutes from, about 45 kilometers from Delhi, right? An integral part of our plan on that facility is actually a worker accommodation, the specifications of which are set to be able to provide an extremely clean and safe accommodation environment for them, as much as we would focus on creating a safe and clean logistics facility, right? These two things now more than ever will go hand in hand. To my mind, aspiration, end of the day, is built out of a couple of things. One is in terms of what is it that people, what are the core things that people need? People need respect at work, right? People need to know that they are operating and living in a safe environment. and a clean environment, right? And the third thing is that at some level, they need a sense of security, right? I think the combination of these three things is what will make at least entry-level jobs in the logistics sector aspirational. And that's probably some part of it has been missing in the way this sector has developed in our country over the last few years, right? If you go back, I think if you go back several years when many PSUs were set up, when these mills were set up, these were things which were, I would say, employers would think about. I think there was an in-between period that employers were not thinking about these things, right? And I think that time has now come back. And companies, I think, which will lead on that front will benefit. And more importantly, I think it will be hard to operate without actually doing that. In the manufacturing sector, by the way, this has already been the case, right? So I think that's what, to my mind, makes things aspirational.
Thanks, Ajit. And real estate is another sector which needs to look into this. They also have a lot of migrant workers. Thank you so much for your insights. And please stay on with us while we move on to the next speaker. I am very happy to announce that Honorable Minister Dr. Mahendra Nath Pandey is with us, although he is right now on a call. He is joining us very shortly. So we will welcome him formally once he joins. But we will move on to and request our next speaker, Ms. Nivritri Rai, Chair FICCI Development Committee and Country Head Intel India, to first give her address and then she can formally welcome once she closes her presentation. Well, Nivritri needs no introduction. She is a very well-known technocrat and is known for her sound insights on the ways to leverage exponential technologies, particularly artificial intelligence, in a diverse country like ours. So, Nivritri, we are very eager to listen to you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Shobha. I'm really excited to be here and speak to all of you. And I really enjoyed the sessions before me.
The minister has joined, so you can welcome him.
Okay. चीफ गेस्ट को मैं बाद में बताऊंगी कि क्यों मैं इस मौके को बहुत उस मौके के लिए शुक्रगुजार फील कर रही हूँ। तो सबसे पहले फिकी के इस फोरम में मैं वेलकम करना चाहती हूँ हमारे चीफ गेस्ट श्री महेंद्र नाथ पांडे जी को, जो हमारे यूनियन मिनिस्टर है फॉर स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। सो सर, आपको बहुत बहुत सादर और वेलकम, आपका स्वागत है। सर, सो दो रीजन से मैं बहुत, क्योंकि देश से हूँ और ना कि सिर्फ देश से हूँ, मेरा दूसरा मकसद ये था कि मेरे बहुत सारे परिवार के लोग बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़े हैं। मेरे फादर ने अंडरग्रेड और BHU से किया, फिर मास्टर्स कानपुर IIT से किया। तो उत्तर प्रदेश में मेरा पूरा बचपन बीता है। सो मैं बहुत खुश होती हूँ जब मुझे बहुत अकम्प्लिश्ड लोग उत्तर प्रदेश से मिलते हैं। सर, तो आपका बहुत स्वागत है इस फोरम में। Can I start?
Please go ahead.
So हम इस पैंडेमिक से बहुत तकलीफ में हैं और समझते हैं बड़ी मुश्किलें हमको मिली हैं, पर हमेशा ये देखा गया है कि मुश्किलों से ही अवसर निकलते हैं। और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे देश को हर एक अवसर जो इस पैंडेमिक की मुश्किल से निकला है उसका पूरी तरह से फायदा उठाना चाहिए। और 3 स्पेसिफिक सेक्शंस ऐसे हैं जिनके बारे में मैं बात करना चाहती हूँ। पहला है जो हम सब सीख रहे हैं कि हर कुछ मीटिंग ऑनलाइन होती है, टेली के जरिए होती है, पढ़ाई टेली के जरिए होती है और हम डॉक्टरों को मिल रहे हैं, टेली हेल्थ की टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल करते हुए। तो एक है आने वाली जिंदगी में हम कैसे हर कुछ टेली बना सके। दूसरा, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकें, क्या हम करें कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में और आए। तीसरा, हमको कंस्ट्रक्शन और अपनी इंडस्ट्रीज को हाईली ऑटोमेटिक और रोबोटिक बनाना होगा अगर हमारा ड्रीम है कि हम इस अवसर का पूरी तरह फायदा उठा सकें, जियोपॉलिटिकल इश्यूज का, साथ में पैंडेमिक का। तो जो ये 3 सेक्शंस मैंने बोले हैं कि ई रिटेल है, ई हेल्थ है, ई एजुकेशन है, इसमें 3 मेन टेक्नोलॉजीज हमको आगे बढ़ानी होंगी। एक है कम्युनिकेशन और नेटवर्किंग की टेक्नोलॉजी, चाहे वो 5G हो या ना हो, रूरल एरिया में भी हमको कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ानी, क्योंकि हमारे बच्चे वहां भी पढ़ने हैं, हमारे वहां पे भी लोग हैं जिनको हॉस्पिटल का फायदा उठाना है। दूसरा, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। इस समय बहुत सारे देश कई देशों से नाखुश हैं, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमको अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एम्प अप करनी चाहिए। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एम्प अप करने के लिए हम सब कॉर्पोरेट वाले तो हैं ही, हमको गवर्नमेंट का बहुत अधिक सपोर्ट चाहिए, उसमें स्किलिंग सबसे अहम है। और तीसरा सेक्शन बताने के बाद मैं बताऊंगी कि कैसे हम स्किलिंग का फायदा उठाते हुए ये तीनों एरिया में भारत का फायदा कर सकते हैं और आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं अपने देश को, जो फिर वर्ल्ड के लिए काम कर सके। तीसरा मैं बोल रही हूं, इंडस्ट्रीज को ऑटोमेशन जरूर दिलाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर हमको वर्ल्ड मार्केट में आना है तो हमारे प्रोडक्शन की स्पीड बढ़नी होगी, हमारे प्रोडक्शन की क्वालिटी बढ़नी होगी, और हमारे लोगों को वो जानना पड़ेगा कि ऑटोमेशन कैसे इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। सो इन 3 सेक्शंस में कनेक्टिविटी, चाहे 5G हो या रूरल कनेक्टिविटी हो, AI जो कि हमारे इंडस्ट्रीज में ऑटोमेशन लाए, और तीसरा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। इन तीनों चीजों में स्किलिंग में हम क्या कर सकते हैं। और सर, सबसे बड़ा फायदा जो आप हमारे लिए कर सकते हैं वो ये कर सकते हैं कि हम दूसरे देशों के साथ, जैसे मलेशिया एक छोटी सी कंट्री है, उनके पास तो उतने भी लोग नहीं जितने हमारे पास बेंगलोर में हैं, तो क्या हम 1500 लोग भेज सकते हैं मलेशिया में। मलेशिया गवर्नमेंट के साथ ये पार्टनरशिप कर सकते हैं कि आपकी रोबोटिक इंडस्ट्रीज में, आपकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज में हमारे ये 1500 लोग काम करेंगे साल भर के लिए, और साल भर बाद ट्रेन होकर जाएंगे। आपको साल का फायदा मिलेगा, हमको ट्रेनिंग का फायदा मिलेगा, और वही मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हम यहाँ में चालू करें उन कंपनीज के साथ बात करके। तो हम स्किलिंग को हर क्षेत्र में, हर लेवल पर सोच सकते हैं, एकदम इंडस्ट्री लेवल वर्कर व्यू पॉइंट पे, उसके बाद इंजीनियरिंग लेवल पर, उसके बाद AI लेवल पर, उसके बाद हम अपनी खुद की इंडस्ट्री कंस्ट्रक्शन में और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में ऑटोमेशन और AI जैसी टेक्नोलॉजीज ला सकते हैं। और कनेक्टिविटी सर हमारे लिए बहुत ही अहम है, स्पेक्ट्रम एलोकेशन बहुत अहम है, और उस कनेक्टिविटी को फिर इस्तेमाल करना ताकि हम अपने गांव के बच्चों को पढ़ा सके, उनको कनेक्टिविटी इस्तेमाल करना सिखा सके, हमारी प्रोड्यूस बाहर भेज सके। इसके लिए सर कनेक्टिविटी, AI और इनेबलिंग ऑटोमेशन इन फैक्ट्रीज, ये 3 सर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। और मैं यहां तक कि साइन अप करने के लिए रेडी हूं, अगर गवर्नमेंट मुझे ये कहे ये 500 महिलाएं हैं, इनको आप अपनी कंपनी में ले जाइए, और AI में AI का पोर्शन सर सिर्फ 15% होता है, बाकी सब ये होता है कि हम डॉक्यूमेंट करें। क्या आप एज अ सरकार कंपनीज के साथ बात करते हैं कि ये आप लोग लीजिए, इनको इस्तेमाल करिए एनोटेशन में, AI एनोटेशन में, तो हमारे जो वो वर्कर जो सड़क बना रहे, बिल्डिंग पेंट कर रहे हैं, जो खोद रहे हैं, उनको भी हम सिखा सकते हैं कि अगर ये लाल सर्कल देखो दबा, इस ब्रेस्ट कैंसर स्कैन में ब्रेस्ट कैंसर है, उनको देखकर हमको सिर्फ ये बताना होगा लाल दबाओ, पीला दबाओ, नीला दबाओ। तो हम इस तरह का काम लोअर लेवल से लेकर AI की ट्रेनिंग बाहर भेजकर, तीसरा हम खुद के लोगों को ऑटोमेशन में इस्तेमाल करके बहुत कुछ काम कर सकते हैं। सो सर मेरा बस यही कहना है, और मैं कमिटेड हूँ एज शोभा के पार्टनर के तौर पे फिकी स्किलिंग में, और दूसरा एज इंटेल इंडिया हेड पे। सो दैट्स ऑल आई वांटेड टू से सर, एंड वेरी वेलकम अगेन। और मैं आगे भी उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए कुछ करना चाहूंगी, और आप अपने स्टेट को वापस देना चाहूंगी जहां से मैंने खुद बहुत सीखा. थैंक यू सर.
Thank you, Nivriti. I think that was a very, very passionate speech, and what you very clearly summarized was that communication, networking, manufacturing, and skilling, these are the three threads. If they are woven together, तो हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत की तरफ बढ़ सकते हैं. So thank you so much. Sir, before I request you to give your address, we want to release two research reports on two very interesting and important subjects. So with your permission, this will be digitally released. पहला रिपोर्ट सर माइग्रेशन पे है, जिसका टाइटल है Rehabilitation of Migrant Workers in India. This report has been developed by FICCI Skill Committee, Skill Development Task Force under the chairmanship of Ms. Veena Swaroop, who is the former Director HR, Engineers India Limited. Report aims to provide the context in which the patterns and the trends in migration have been changing in India, the international best practices on internal migration, and recommendations for rehabilitation of migrant workers. Sir, recent migration or reverse migration of migrant workers ने हमें फोर्स किया कि हम इस टॉपिक पे एक रिसर्च पेपर निकालें और कुछ की मुद्दे पे रिकमेंडेशंस दें. तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी वीना जी, आप अगर ब्रीफली सर को बता सकें कि हमारे की रिकमेंडेशंस क्या हैं इस पेपर में.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh. Hear me?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Honorable Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Dr. Pandey sir, Mr. Chenoy, Nivriti, Shobha, and friends. A very good evening to all of you. I'm really happy to have got this opportunity from FICCI to have done this, to lead this task force of rehabilitation of migrant workers in today's scenario, as Shobha has mentioned. The time was an essence because a very in-depth study would have taken a very long time, but we wanted to come out with our recommendations which could be implemented at the earliest. So for that, we have come out with our primary report, and I'm hopeful that later FICCI would indulge in a detailed study, in-depth study for key sectors. So, but इसमें सर हमने मेथडोलॉजी अडॉप्ट की वो ये थी कि हमने इसमें बहुत डिटेल्ड सेकेंडरी रिसर्च किया. हमारे टास्क फोर्स ने हमने बहुत डिस्कशंस किए इंडस्ट्री रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स के साथ, सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल के सीईओज के साथ, we discussed with ILO and also with various social organizations who are dealing with migrant workers. हमने कुछ इंटरनेशनल प्रैक्टिसेस को भी स्टडी किया, जैसे वियतनाम की, इंडोनेशिया की प्रैक्टिसेस, थाईलैंड की प्रैक्टिसेस, चाइना की प्रैक्टिसेस, और ये सब का सार निकाल के और जो हमारा कंट्री की रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू से कि आज शाम से जो भी डिस्कशंस हुए हैं और जो जो पॉइंट्स निकल के आए हैं आप देखेंगे वो सारी हमारी रिकमेंडेशंस में हैं. तो कटिंग इट वेरी शॉर्ट बिकॉज टाइम का अभी कंस्ट्रेंट है, आई विल जस्ट टच ऑन द हाइलाइट्स ऑफ द रिकमेंडेशंस. इसमें हमने क्या किया कि हमने 3 बकेट्स में इसको डाला. तो पहला वाला है फॉर इमीडिएट एक्शन, द सेकेंड इज फॉर मिड टर्म एक्शन, और जो तीसरा है that is for long term action, and action by government, by industry, and by the training partners, the skilling partners. इसमें in the major highlights were of course गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत कुछ किया अभी तक फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट के लिए, पर हमने कुछ और भी फंड्स आइडेंटिफाई किए which could be diverted towards the migrant worker to solve this crisis. The second area which we have highlighted and flagged is that there must be registration of all workers. ये सर ऑलरेडी हमारी पॉलिसीज में है पर हो नहीं रहा. तो ये थोड़ा एम्फसाइज किया जाए कि एवरी वर्कर हैज टू बी रजिस्टर्ड, और एक बार वो रजिस्टर हो गए तो कहीं भी कंट्री में काम कर ले वो एक रजिस्ट्रेशन काम आएगी। फिर उसके बाद हमने सजेस्ट किया है कि एक माइग्रेशन सपोर्ट सेंटर्स का कॉन्सेप्ट लेके आया जाए, जैसे हमारी मिशन ऑफिसर्स वर्क कर रहे हैं इन फॉरेन कंट्रीज, इस तरह माइग्रेशन सपोर्ट सेंटर, एंड दीज माइग्रेशन सपोर्ट centers will be like help desk in every district level, in the state levels, and they would be the ones who would bring in a structured manner the migration of workers, and also give them a हैंड होल्डिंग। जब वो आते हैं सिटीज में, अर्बन एरियाज में, बैंक अकाउंट खोलना है, राशन कार्ड बनाना है, उनके जॉब्स की काउंसलिंग के लिए, तो ये सारा हमने विस्तार से दिया है रिपोर्ट। उसके अलावा हमने ये भी सजेस्ट किया एज अ लॉन्ग टर्म मेजर कि एक रोबस्ट डेटा सिस्टम होना चाहिए टू बी एबल टू ट्रैक द मोबिलिटी ऑफ वर्कर्स। काउंसलिंग और कम्युनिकेशन स्ट्रेटजी के ऊपर हमने बहुत एम्फोसिस दिया है। उसमें हमने कहा है कि स्किलिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग पार्टनर्स में ऑल्सो कम फॉरवर्ड, बिकॉज काउंसलिंग एंड कम्युनिकेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सेंटर्स बनाए जाएं, और जो कम्युनिकेशन की जो स्ट्रेटजी है, वेदर इट इज ऑन यू कैन से ऑन द कम्युनिटी लोकल लैंग्वेज में, तो इसको भी हमने विस्तार से समझाया है रिपोर्ट में।
थैंक यू विनय जी। विनय जी, मिनिस्टर साहब का एक और मीटिंग है, सो वी हैव अ वेरी शॉर्ट टाइम, सो व्हाट वी विल डू इज वी विल टेक सम टाइम सेपरेटली बाय द ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर एंड go to his office and give him a detailed presentation. Thank you so much for joining me. सर, एक दूसरा रिपोर्ट भी हम जल्दी से रिलीज करना चाहेंगे। ये रिपोर्ट है skill and jobs pre and post COVID perspective with a special focus on manufacturing sector. Sir, even before the pandemic, there was a discussion around implication of Industry 4.0 on future of jobs. Today, before you came in, sir, we had some very eminent presentations from the aviation sector, from retail, as well as from the logistic sector, where they have talked about, how the technology is going to impact and what are the changes that COVID-19 is going to bring in these sectors. And I'm very happy to say that many of the research and the recommendations that are there in this report match with what these experts have said. So without further ado, sir, we will take some time from you in your office and come and make a presentation with our chair Nivritti Rai, our Secretary General Dilip Chinoy, and Ms. Veena Swaroop. So with this, sir, may I now request you to please give your inaugural address. We are eagerly waiting for your address. Over to you, sir.
आज द्वारा आयोजित इस कोविड-19 के बाद कौशल और रोजगार नेशनल एस्पेक्ट के इस वेबिनार में जहाँ निवृत्ति राय जी, पीटर बैजल जी, परिणीता जी, बेन जॉन डी, अजीत भाई और दिलीप चिनाय जी, और इसको कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं शोभा मिश्रा घोष जी, जो लोग इससे जुड़े हैं उन सभी को मेरी तरफ से बहुत मान है, मेरी शुभकामना है। मैं थोड़ा दूसरे एक टीम में बिजी था, इसलिए मेरे से पहले मैंने निवृत्ति राय जी को सुना, शोभा जी के संचालन को देख ही रहा हूँ, और वीना जी का अभी एक रिपोर्ट की चर्चा उनके द्वारा सुनी। ये जो जानकारी दी गई है, बड़ा अच्छा सबका विचार, डिमांड सप्लाई और उसके बीच मिसमैच है, उस पर फोकस सभी ने किया है, कहने की जरूरत है। आप लोगों ने माइग्रेंट के पुनर्वासन के लिए रिहैबिलिटेशन कैसे हो, इस पर अभी वीना जी ने जो अच्छा पॉइंट पार्ट में उन्होंने जो रखा, बुकिंग एसोसिएशन ने और भी कोई रिपोर्ट तैयार की जो लास्ट में आपने उसका हल्का सा शोभा जी उल्लेख किया आपने। मैं आप सबको सलाह दूंगा कि ये दोनों रिपोर्ट्स हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में भिजवा दीजिएगा, हमारे चैम्बर में, और प्लस प्रवीण जी को, क्योंकि अभी एक माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के गाइडेंस में एम्प्लॉयमेंट स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन एक ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स का ग्रुप काम कर रहा है जीएम के अंतर्गत। अभी उसमें उस सेक्टर से काउंसिल्स को हमने इंडिकेट किया है, वे भी इस विषय पर अपनी रिपोर्ट रखें है। आपकी रिपोर्ट तो मैं अभी गौर कर रहा था, जो रीना जी और निवृत्ति जी की बातों में से एक चीज निकली, मैंने ध्यान दिया कि माइग्रेंट के काउंसलिंग और उनके कम्युनिकेशन की भी बात उन्होंने रखी। बहुत ही आवश्यक है ये, क्योंकि मेरे पास समय कम है, मुझे तुरंत एक दूसरा वेबिनार पार्टी का ज्वाइन करना है, वो डिटेल में नहीं जाऊंगा। आपको मैं जानकारी देना चाहूंगा कि फील्ड की जानकारियां हैं, मैं शेयर करूंगा फिक्की से, क्योंकि सभी इंपॉर्टेंट लोगों ने अपने तजर्बे से बहुत, और इंटरनेशनल लेवल की जो इंफॉर्मेशन उसके आधार पर मेरे टीम ने मुझे बताया कि आप बहुत अच्छे विचार पीटर बेंजल और परिणीता जी वेन जॉन्डी अजीत भाई साहब ने रखा है। तो और आप सबको तो मैंने सुना ही। देखिए, ये जो माइग्रेंट का प्रॉब्लम है, इसमें काउंसलिंग प्लस बिहेवियर एक बड़ा फैक्टर है, और इंटर एक्सचेंज कम्युनिकेशन, इसकी आपने संक्षेप में चर्चा की। मैं राज्यों का नाम नहीं लूंगा, मैं इंडस्ट्रीज का नाम लूंगा, लेकिन मैं आपको एक कोविड की जो क्राइसिस थी, जो पीक पर स्टार्टिंग में हुई है माइग्रेंट इशू, अभी तो कठिनाई तो अभी चली रही है, और वैक्सीनेशन के स्टेज पर आने तक ये कठिनाई, यही सही है कि मोदी जी के अग्रिम पहल से भारत दुनिया के देशों की तुलना में अभी बहुत थोड़ा सुकून की स्थिति में है। कुछ यहाँ की इम्यूनिटी बिल्डअप और रिकवरी परसेंटेज भी अच्छे चल रहे हैं। अगर जागरूकता बनी रही, लोगों में लापरवाही नहीं आई, तो ये स्थिति और मेंटेन रहेगी। लेकिन मैं उस पीरियड की चर्चा कर रहा हूँ, कई जगह ऐसा देखने में आया, प्रॉब्लम कैसे क्रिएट हुई कि तो इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, कई स्टेट के लोगों ने, तो माइग्रेंट, ज्यादातर माइग्रेंट बिहार, यूपी, राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, झारखंड और बंगाल, जो 116 डिस्ट्रिक्ट गवर्नमेंट ने आइडेंटिफाई किया है, जहां 25,000 से ज्यादा माइग्रेंट अपने अपने जिलों में पहुंचे हैं, उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया है। और आप सबको जानकारी है कि 25 प्रोग्राम्स उनमें दिए जा रहे हैं। 50,000 करोड़ रुपए, 20 लाख करोड़ के पैकेज में स्पेशली डिलीवर किया गया है। 1,75,000 करोड़ अलग से एक सेटअप बनाया गया है। ये सब चीजें भारत सरकार बहुत तेजी से कर रही है। उसमें तत्काल उनको कैसे रोजगार मिल सके, हमारा डिपार्टमेंट भी इसमें 3 लाख, 1.5 लाख आरपीएल और 1.5 लाख शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेनिंग के काम पर फोकस कर रहा है। और हमारी जो रिवर्स माइग्रेंट है, उसकी मैपिंग हो चुकी है थ्रू डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। उसको हम, और हमने एक जानकारी होगी आप लोगों को, विदेश से आने वालों को भी एक स्वदेश ऐप लॉन्च किया है हमारी मिनिस्ट्री और नागरिक उड्डयन मंत्रालय और प्लस ये विदेश मंत्रालय से मिलकर के। तो ये सारे काम बहुत तेजी से चल रहे हैं। लेकिन जिस बात पर आप सब इंडस्ट्री के, हिंदुस्तान के बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट लोग हैं, फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स में आप सब लोगों का लंबा तजुर्बा है, आपको कहीं ना कहीं ये बात कन्वे करने की मैं अपील करता हूँ, रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ। देखिए, कई जगह इंडस्ट्री मालिक ने या स्टेट के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने वो माइग्रेंट थे, उनको बोला आप मेरे बेटे हो, आप मेरे भाई हो, आपने पुरुषार्थ किया, आपने परिश्रम किया, आपके पसीने से आज हमारी बिल्डिंग खड़ी, हमारी फैक्ट्री खड़ी, हमारा स्टेट खड़ा है। एक राज्य के चीफ मिनिस्टर ने तो अपने को बोला कि आप मेरे विकास के प्रतिनिधि हो, आप यहाँ रहो, खाओ, सब कुछ आपका है। कई फार्म हाउसेस के मालिकों ने कहा बेटा सब आपने कमाया है, ये आपका है। तो ये जो एटमॉस्फेयर दिया उन्होंने, वहाँ जो है प्रवासन, वहां से माइग्रेशन कम हुआ, लेकिन कुछ जगहों पर लोगों ने उनको अपने हाल पर छोड़ दिया। उन्हें, जो उन्होंने उनकी वर्षों सेवा की, उनकी बिल्डिंगें खड़ी की, उनकी इंडस्ट्री को बिल्डअप किया, उन्होंने उनको 2 महीने उनको संभाल नहीं सके। परिणाम हुआ कि ऐसी अफरा तफरी मची। आज की फील्ड में मैं आप फीडबैक दे रहा हूँ, अभी भी कितने ऐसे इंडस्ट्री के हैं, हम लोग को देहातों की राजनीति से भी जुड़े हुए हैं, कि अपनी गाड़ियां भेज के वो माइग्रेंट को बुला रहे हैं, इज्जत से बुला रहे हैं, माइग्रेंट वापस जा रहा है कहीं कहीं। ये जो चीजें हैं, इसमें इंडस्ट्री पार्टनर से मेरा और इंडस्ट्रीज के आप देश कितने बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, अपनी ये जो ह्यूमैनिटेरियन सोच होनी चाहिए, मानवीय सोच होनी चाहिए। काउंसलिंग जरूरी है और काउंसलिंग का बेस होना चाहिए कि मानवीय सोच से उन माइग्रेंट को लोग कंसिडर करें, उनसे रिलेशनशिप बनाएं, उनको तवज्जो दें। हमारी सरकार तो कितना आगे बढ़ के काम, अभी परसों कैबिनेट ने डिसीजन लिया कि हम जो लगभग 160 शहरों में जो बिल्डिंगें अधूरी है उन बिल्डिंगों को हम पूरा कराएंगे, गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट देके पूरा कराएंगे। और इंडस्ट्री यदि उसे कम कास्ट पर ले सके तो ले ले, और माइग्रेंट को रहने के लिए किराए के रूप में या अपने माइग्रेंट्स के अपने इंडस्ट्री वर्कर्स को रहने के लिए दे। माने इंडस्ट्रीज को इतना फ्रेंडली सपोर्ट गवर्नमेंट तैयार है। तो इंडस्ट्रीज के लोगों से मेरी अपील है कि उन्हें भी गवर्नमेंट के इस नजरिए को अपना करके उस हिसाब से काउंसलिंग, उस हिसाब से कम्युनिकेशन रिलेशनशिप बनाने की जरूरत है। आज निश्चित तौर से ये जो कोविड के बाद की आपका जो सब्जेक्ट बड़ा ही मौके का है, बड़ा रिलेवेंट है। इसके बाद रोजगार के काम के अवसर बदलेंगे। अब जैसे आज मेडिकेशन है, डॉक्टरों के फील्ड में निश्चित तौर से एक बहुत हैवी परसेंटेज आने वाला है कि टेली कम्युनिकेशन से, टेली मेडिसिन से लोगों को एडवाइस देना, फिजिकली एक दूसरे को अटेंड करने से डॉक्टर्स भी बच रहे हैं, मरीज के अस्पताल जाने से अपने को थोड़ा सेफ रखना है। और डाटा एनालिसिस, ये सब की जरूरतें अब बढ़ेंगी और इस तरह से जो नौकरियां चेंज होगी उन सब पर भी हमको आपको फोकस करने की जरूरत है। आज इस हमारा मंत्रालय इस दिशा में कई तरह से काम कर रहा है। अभी आज मैंने एक लॉन्च किया है SMIS, स्किल मैनेजमेंट इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम। आज मैंने NSDC के थ्रू तैयार कराया हुआ बेटर प्लेस कंपनी बेंगलुरु की, उसने उसमें कोऑपरेट किया है, गवर्नमेंट ने ओन किया है हमारे डिपार्टमेंट ने। इससे उसको मैंने एक नाम भी दिया, असीम आत्मनिर्भर भारत के कंसेप्ट के साथ स्किल मैपिंग, आत्मनिर्भर एम्प्लॉयर मैपिंग डाटाबेस का एक सेटअप तैयार किया और उसको आज मैंने लॉन्च किया, ताकि एक क्लिक के ऊपर, मैं चाहूंगा फिक्की भी अपने को इससे लिंक करे, जोड़े, इसमें सहयोग करे। एक क्लिक पर कहाँ पर स्किल गैप है वो भी आएगी, कहाँ पर स्किल पर्सन अवेलेबल है वो भी आएगी, कहाँ पर उसको जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी है वो भी आएगी। और इसमें इस तरह से एम्प्लॉय और एम्प्लॉयर एक दूसरे से कम्युनिकेशन करेंगे और जॉब की आने अपॉर्चुनिटी इसमें से उपलब्ध होगी। और एक क्लिक पर आदमी उपलब्ध रहेगा काम करने के लिए, और एक क्लिक पर आदमी स्किलिंग के लिए उपलब्ध, उसको उपलब्धता दी जाएगी। एम्प्लॉयर को भी सुविधा रहेगी, एम्प्लॉय जो कल को रोजगार चाहता है उसे भी सुविधा रहेगी। और हमने मैं समय कम है लेकिन बताऊं, मैंने PMKY3 की जो प्लान की है, गवर्नमेंट ने उसको 1 वर्ष के एक्सपेरिमेंटल अप्रूवल दे दिए हैं। उसमें भी डिमांड बेस्ड स्किलिंग पर हमने बल दिया है। तो इसके इन सब इस परिस्थितियों में आज जो हमारे राष्ट्रीय हमारे कौशल NSTIs हैं, ITI जो मॉडल ITI हैं, उनमें हम अब जिसकी रिक्वायरमेंट है, पहले से भी चल रहा था लेकिन हम उसको फोकस करने वाले हैं। इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स पर, स्मार्ट हेल्थ केयर और स्मार्ट सिटी, 3D प्रिंटिंग, ड्रोन कॉलर, सोलर टेक, जिस तरह की जो कम से कम फिजिकल निकटता कम हो और डिस्टेंस बनी रहे, इस आधार पर हम सबको काम के अवसर और इस तरह की अप स्किलिंग, रीस्किलिंग, इस पर जोर देने की हमारी डिपार्टमेंट की पूरी कोशिश है। और आपकी जो रिपोर्ट्स हैं, उस रिपोर्ट्स के आधार पर भी हम अपने डिपार्टमेंट के संग चर्चा करके अपने अधिकारियों से उसको भी उपयोग करेंगे। हम आज आप सबसे ये एक अपेक्षा करेंगे कि आप फिक्की के लोग हैं, CI के लोग हैं, एसोचैम के लोग हैं, चैम्बर्स के लोग हैं, आज आपकी भूमिका बड़ी हो गई और जिसमें आपका एक लंबा इतिहास है अच्छे काम। तो इस फेडरेशन के लोगों को थोड़ा आगे बढ़ के, क्योंकि देखिए रोजगार के साथ साथ, कारोबार के साथ साथ आज सोसाइटी के प्रति रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की जरूरत ज्यादा आ गई है। क्योंकि इस समय सबसे आप देख भी रहे हैं कि ऐसी परिस्थिति में देश जब कभी कभी कुछ, मैं उस तरफ पॉलिटिकल नहीं ले जाना चाहूंगा, लेकिन आप व्यक्तिगत जीवन में भी ऐसा होता है कि कोई आदमी यदि परेशान रहता है, उस समय दूसरा जो है उसकी परेशानी का फायदा उठाना चाहिए। तो भारत दुनिया की दूसरी सबसे बड़ी आबादी का देश है और उसमें अब इस कोविड के चलते जो कंट्री के सामने चुनौतियां आई हैं, इन चुनौतियों के परिप्रेक्ष्य में कुछ ऐसे लोग जो हमारे देश के प्रति दृष्टिकोण अच्छे नहीं थे, उन्होंने फायदा उठाना चाहा। लेकिन आपने देखा हमारे लोगों ने बड़ी मजबूती से इसका सामना किया। मैं उन विषयों पर नहीं जाना चाहता हूं, आप सब बहुत ही हाईली इंटेलेक्चुअल्स हैं, हमारी इशारे को समझ रहे हैं, क्योंकि मैं आपके वेबिनार की दिशा नहीं बदलना चाहता। तो और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री का जो ये दृष्टिकोण है कि हम इस कठिनाई को अवसर में तब्दील करेंगे, और एक उन्होंने स्लोगन दिया है आत्मनिर्भर भारत, और मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी ये नाम है वर्तमान हिंदुस्तान में। गुजरात के दौरान 6 वर्ष से प्रधानमंत्री की ड्यूटी के दौरान जो संकल्प नरेंद्र मोदी लेते हैं उसे पूरा करने के लिए खुद जी जान से जुटते हैं, पूरी टीम को जोड़ते हैं, पूरे देश को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं। तो निश्चित तौर से आत्मनिर्भर भारत का ये स्लोगन ही नहीं है, उसे करके दिखाना उनका जज्बा है। हम और आप सब लोग उसमें सहभागी बनेंगे, इस विश्वास से मैं आप लोगों से चर्चा कर रहा हूँ। तो इस अवसर को हमें भारत की मजबूती के रूप में स्थापित करना है, और संयोग से भारत के अंदर शुरू से संकल्प शक्ति का एक जज्बा रहा है। ये देश बहुत सी चुनौतियां विदेशियों के हमलों से लेकर के पहले भी 1-2 बड़ी महामारियों को शताब्दियों वर्ष पूर्व झेला है। इस परिस्थिति से मन को मजबूत करके उभरने की जरूरत है। और आज आपके मॉडर्न शेप के PhD चैम्बर्स हो, फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स हो, आप लोग जो है सोचम हो, ये जो इंटरनेशनली लिंकअप करके जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, इसको बैक टू पेविलियन आप जाइए। चाहे भारत की आज़ादी की लड़ाई हो, चाहे उसके पहले देश के समाज के विभिन्न वर्गों की सेवा के कार्य हो, बिजनेस सेटअप से जुड़े लोगों ने हर जमाने में आगे आके कदम बढ़ाया है, हर जमाने में अपना न्यौछावर किया है। आज ये जरूरत है, माइग्रेंट लेबर से जुड़ी प्रॉब्लम, देश के अंदर रोजगार के नए सृजन, रोजगार के नेचर बदलने के बाद नए रोजगार को क्रिएट करने, और नॉट फॉर ओनली माइग्रेंट लेबर, कंट्री के और डिफरेंट सेटअप पर और दुनिया की चुनौतियों में कहाँ खड़ा होना है। एक बार फिर इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े लोगों का अब और उसके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का रोल बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है। भारत सरकार की जो भूमिका है, उसकी हर नीतियां आप सबके फ्रेंडली तैयार की जा रही हैं। गवर्नमेंट के हाल के कई डिसीजन ऐसा है जो इंडस्ट्रीज के लोगों को हर मोड़ पर सहयोग करने के लिए, आपने MSME के लिए देखा कितने प्रकार का उनको अवसर और उनको फैसिलिटीज देने की कोशिश हुई है। अभी अप्रेंटिसशिप में हमने पिछले दिनों कुछ सरलीकरण किया था, आगे हम और लेके आने वाले हैं ताकि इंडस्ट्रीज को और अच्छी निकटता महसूस हो। चाहे वो 30 मेंबर की कंपनी हो, चाहे 300 मेंबर की हो, या 3000 की हो, या 30,000 की हो, उसमें अप्रेंटिस में और सरलीकरण। तो ये सब करके आज की चुनौतियों पर तो आपको मिलकर के एक नए भारत को, आत्मनिर्भर भारत को, मजबूत भारत को खड़ा करना है। और इस भूमिका में आप जो बेहतर प्रपोजल लेके आगे बढ़ेंगे, हम सब मिलकर के अपने बीच में बेहतर संवाद के साथ, बेहतर कोऑर्डिनेशन के साथ आगे बढ़ेंगे देश के हित में। और इसमें गरीब का कल्याण इसका मेन फोकस होगा। आत्मनिर्भर भारत, इसका एक विजन लेके हमें आगे बढ़ना है। मेरी इस बात के साथ ही आपके इस आयोजन में आपने मुझे बुलाया, इसके लिए धन्यवाद। और आपकी पूरी चर्चाओं को मैं सहभागी हो रहा हूँ। और एक बात आई, ये जो माइग्रेंट सेटअप के लोगों की बेहतर काउंसलिंग की, तो जिस काम पर भी बहुत बल देने की जरूरत है, उससे भी जो परेशान असंगठित तबका है वो निश्चित तौर से उसका मनोबल ऊंचा होगा। और मनोबल ऊंचा करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट हर कदम तैयार है। वो गवर्नमेंट है, इस गवर्नमेंट ने छोटी बात नहीं है, 80 करोड़ आबादी को 4 महीने मुफ्त राशन देना, ये छोटी घटना नहीं है। भारत छोड़िए, दुनिया में ऐसा उदाहरण नहीं मिलेगा। फिर 4 महीने और नवंबर तक उनको 80 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन को मुफ्त राशन देना। गवर्नमेंट का जज्बा ऐसे लोगों के संग आप सबके बदौलत और मजबूत होगा। गवर्नमेंट की इस दृष्टि को, इस नीयत को आप मोदी जी के अप्रोच को गहराई से लें और हम सब मिलकर इस दिशा में आगे बढ़ें। आपने बड़े मूल्यवान विषय पर वेबिनार किया। कौशल के, कोविड के बाद जो हम कौशल और रोजगार की जो अपॉर्चुनिटी खड़ी है, में हम सब मिलकर आगे आएंगे, बेहतर करेंगे, विश्वास है। सभी को बहुत बहुत सम्मान।
सर, पहले तो आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारक असीम के लॉन्च होने पे, एंड वी अश्योर यू फ्रॉम फिक्की that we will work with both ministry and NSDE to see how we can populate that platform. सर, आपने जो जो बोला अभी, उसके आपके आने से पहले हमारे जो दिग्गज स्पीकर्स हैं यहाँ पे, उन्होंने काफी कुछ वो बातें कही हैं। और फोकस रहा है कि किस तरह से बिजनेस को बढ़ाया जाए और द एम्प्लॉई को सेंटर में रख के उनके हेल्थ एंड सेफ्टी को किस तरह से बरकरार रखा जाए, जिससे कि एक होलिस्टिक इकोसिस्टम डेवलपमेंट हो और हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत की तरफ बढ़े। हम इन जो भी हमारे स्पीकर्स ने बोला है, इसका एक रिपोर्ट बनाएंगे और वो रिपोर्ट और हमारे दोनों जो रिपोर्ट हैं सर, हम आपको प्रेजेंट करेंगे। और आपसे थोड़ा सा वक्त लेके आके पर्सनली अगर हम आपको अलग से डिटेल्स में अगर हम आपको बता सकें कि क्या क्या रिकमेंडेशन है, तो वो बहुत हमारे लिए महत्वपूर्ण होगा। यस सर,
हमारी तरफ से बहुत वेलकम रहेगा आपको।
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would also like to, thank all the distinguished panelists that we have, Mr. Bernard Zandi, Peter Betzel, Parinita Lakra, and Ajit Pai, along with Nivruti Rai and Mr. Dilip Chinoy, our Secretary General FICCI. हमारे पार्टनर्स सर इस वेबिनार के लिए, उनको भी मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी, आईसेक्ट, एडू एडवांटेज एंड NSN। मैं ये सेशन सर क्लोज करना चाहूंगी दलाई लामा जी के कोट से, रेजिलियंस लीड्स टू रीडिस्कवर, कोट अनकोट। सर, रेजिलियंस से ही हम अपने आप को रीडिस्कवर कर सकते हैं और इस एडवर्सिटी में हम अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढ सकते हैं। इसके साथ आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू। स्टे हेल्दी, स्टे सेफ।
धन्यवाद मंत्री जी, धन्यवाद बहुत बहुत।
अच्छा चिन्हा जी, नमस्कार।
Thank you.
Thank you, Parinita.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job done, Shovan and team. Keep it up. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Veena.